The NXT women's title picture is heating up. It's becoming red hot, in fact, and it is kind of unclear who's going to win at Stand and Deliver. We're going to talk about it in just a second, so stay tuned. This is your NXT review. What's up, Maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, a wrestling enthusiast, a WrestleManiac, if you will. And today we are talking about NXT, the go home show for the pay-per-view, the two-night takeover next week, Stand and Deliver. And this was a kind of a split show. We had quite a lot of matches, to be fair, but at the same time, we had a lot of packages selling the matches that are going to be happening at the takeover. So we'll get into it in just a second. Like I said in the intro, we saw Shirai, Raquel González tear themselves apart for like the entire episode, over 2 hours. So really interesting to see what's going to go on there. But we're going to jump into it in just a second. So stay tuned. Right here at WrestleManiac UK, I discuss everything that is WWE and AEW. So if this sounds like the place for you, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell as well, so you get notified each and every time I drop a new video. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into the NXT review. The show opened up with Roderick Strong and Cameron Grimes going at each other. Excuse me. So we had seen last week, I think it was, Cameron Grimes still thinks there's some money in Undisputed Era, some intellectual property that he can profit off, if you like. So Roderick Strong attacked him last week. He wasn't having any of that chat. He's still kind of torn between, everything that's gone down with the Undisputed Era boys. And they had a match this week. Really good match to start us off on the episode. We had, Roderick Strong kind of, I want to say, back to his best. He was obviously very good even in Undisputed Era, but he wasn't ever kind of the focal point. But this time, obviously, it was just him and Cameron Grimes going at it. And they put on a really good match. Cameron Grimes, obviously, very special in the ring as well. As the match was coming to an end, we saw Cameron Grimes pull out of his trunks an Undisputed Era armband, which he threw at Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong, still in his feelings, like I say, picked up the armband and was having a closer look at it, and basically got distracted. Cameron Grimes ran upon him with the cave-in, the stomp to the chest, and pinned Roderick Strong. So Cameron Grimes getting a win there. Yeah, guess he's happy with himself. He gets a win there, and Roderick Strong is left kind of, lamenting on what could have been. He was meant to be in the 12-man battle royal at the end of the night in the main event. However, after this match, we saw him just pack it all in and he walked away. He literally packed his suitcase and walked out the door. And Mackenzie was asking him, like, where you going? He goes, I'm done. And he just said, I'm done. And he walks off. So interesting to see, is this Roderick Strong done at NXT? Does he move up to the main roster? It's for Roderick Strong. I think he'll just get lost on the main roster. I'll be completely honest to you. I think you can get lost on NXT very easily because his personality isn't very. It's not like flooding with character, if you see what I mean. He's a very good wrestler, one of the best, but yeah, his character could make him just become, or not achieve potential on the main roster. But I would like to see this possibly be a move onto the main roster and move on to something new for him while, these Undisputed Era boys are doing whatever they're doing. That's going to happen at TakeOver. So that was the opening match of the night. We also, following this, we had packages from Karrion Kross, I believe, explaining how he's going to beat and brutalize Finn Balor. We also had a vignette of Walter, who was kind of sending a message to Tommaso Ciampa. That match for the UK Championship is going to be on night 1 of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. So looking forward to that one a lot. So we move on to our next match of the night. We had Santos Escobar and the whole of Legado del Fantasma in the ring. Santos Escobar issued a open challenge to see, who can take him on for the Cruiserweight Championship. Who is what's the word? He wanted to show to Devlin, what he's capable of. Give Devlin a closer look, if you like. So it was answered by Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze came out and we saw Escobar and Tyler Breeze go at it. Really fun match. I think in a lot of Escobar's other matches, he's been wrestling a lot of guys that are younger, you see what I mean, younger in experience and stuff like that. But obviously Tyler Breeze is Tyler Breeze, one of the first guys in NXT back in 2013, I think it was, I want to say. So he had someone that was really experienced here at his weight level, and they put on a really decent match. In the end, Santos Escobar did get the win, and put him away with a phantom driver. Afterwards, we saw, I believe, MSK came out the ring first to come chase down Legado del Fantasma. And then we got Grizzled Young Veterans on the screen. Obviously, these three teams are going to go at it for the vacant NXT Tag Championships at Takeover Stand and Deliver. It's a mouthful. So, yeah, that's why they were kind of all gunning for each other. So that's going to be really interesting to see on the night. Next up on the show, we had Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell going up against Gigi Dolin and Zayda Ramier. I'm not sure if these are the names they're going to give these guys permanently. Obviously, they are newly signed from the Indies and stuff. So this was kind of like a squash match, but they got a bit in. But yeah, it was basically a squash match. It wasn't a great match or anything like that. But I guess at the same time, it's getting Indy Hartwell some more exposure. She is, you know, still growing as well within herself. We saw a stomp from Candice LeRae onto Renier, and then we saw Indy Hartwell finish her off with a quite impressive springboard from the outside, from the apron, springboarded onto the top rope, and then dropped an elbow on Renier and got the pin. So good to see Indy Hartwell picking up a win within, you know, her tag team. It would usually be Candice LeRae putting the opponent away, but Indy Hartwell got the win here. And they made a shout for Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, the current women's tag team champions on NXT, and those guys came out. They had a back and forth. Those two teams are gonna have a match now at NXT Stand and Deliver. Looking forward to that. I would like to think Ember Moon and Shotzi retain, and Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, I do think they'll be the next tag champions, but I don't think, you know, it'll happen now. I'm trying not to say it's too early, even though Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart won that, you know, in the first night when the titles are created from the champions. So yeah, we'll see. But I do think Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart will retain here. Rate Plus in the chat, thanks for joining us today. Let's get back to the review. We saw Zoe Stark versus Raquel González. Zoe Stark, you know, we've been singing her praises in recent weeks, and another really good match. She really knows how to bring it to her opponents and really chop them down. She has this really nice knee strike that she does, like a V trigger. And she was really using it effectively against Raquel González. And obviously Raquel González is being built right now to be the person to possibly beat Io Shirai. So yeah, this was a really good match. In the end, we saw Raquel González put away Zoe Stark, which is pretty much expected, to be honest. That is not surprising that happened with, you know, Raquel González got a pay-per-view match next week. So yeah, Zoe Stark continues to impress, but Raquel González gets the win here. After the match, we saw Io Shirai come down to ringside and try to take on Raquel González, just, you know, saying that she won't be knocked down, she won't be kept down. Raquel González beat her up, threw her into the side barricade. She was knocked down. Raquel González is basically telling her to stay down, stay out my way, that kind of thing. This is, again, you know, just one of many encounters. We also saw an encounter backstage of these two going at it, ripping each other apart. So yeah, I don't know what I can say here. You know, this is really intriguing how they're treating this. Really intriguing to see who is going to come out on top. We saw Mackenzie backstage asking Io Shirai, you know, have you bit off more than you can chew here, taking on Raquel González? And Io Shirai said, this is what I wanted. This is why I challenged her, sort of thing. So Io really wants to challenge herself by taking on someone the size and power of Raquel González. So going to be interesting to see that come Stand and Deliver night 1. Before we continue, guys, please make sure you have smashed the like button. Give us a thumbs up. It's thoroughly appreciated every time you do, and it does loads for the channel. So if you haven't already, please smash the like button. Thank you very much. We had a preview of like this vignette between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, where it was like they were being in an interview room. They were like in an interview room and kind of giving their accounts on each other and their careers paralleling to each other. And they mixed in footage from last week's contract signing as well. Really decent. I'm not sure where they're going to preview the whole thing, maybe on the website on WWE.com. But yeah, this was just, you know, really, like I said, these guys weren't on the card. Finn Balor and Karrion Kross weren't on the card tonight. They were just really selling their stories through vignettes. So this was really good to see. And then we saw Pete Dunne interview. He interrupted, a Kushida interview, and Kushida was basically saying that, you know, he's the best technical wrestler in the world. Pete Dunne told him to stay out of his way, and we would see that play out later on the night. Next up, in terms of in-ring action, we had Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter supposed to take on Tian Sha, which would be Xia Li, and, you know, the power that be, the woman that sits in the chair that's pulling all the strings here. She never came down to the ring. It was just Xia Li versus Catanzaro and Carter. Carter was on the apron for the majority, I think, all of this match. I don't remember Carter entering the match at all. And Catanzaro was going at Xia Li, and pretty bog standard in terms of everything else that's been happening in this feud since it began. We saw Carter leave the apron at one point to go up onto the entranceway and to tell you know, this figure that was next to Boa to come into the ring. You're meant to be part of this match, blah blah blah. She was grabbed by the throat and I guess basically choked out, and just dropped to the ground. Back in the ring, Xia Li put away Catanzaro with like a spinning kick. And then, yeah, made her way back up to the entranceway. I think we're getting ever closer to seeing the in-ring debut of whoever this person is. They do need to kind of, this has been good up till now, been very good, very intriguing. The use of this character and building a faction in the female side of the roster, I think, has been really impressive. But they need to move the story along now, which is probably what we're going to get after the 2-night takeover. So yeah, I'm really interested to see you know, how this plays out once it moves on from just being this kind of mystical figure that sits back and just pulls the strings. We'll see how we move on from there. But also, before I get onto the main event, we have a debut coming on the 13th of April, the first night of when NXT moves to Tuesdays. So don't forget that, guys. April 13th, they will now be on Tuesday nights. Now, I can't remember what the person's name is, what they said, that Frankie, if I'm correct. They got this character called Frankie's debuting. I think this is Taya Valkyrie. I'm pretty sure it will be her. I wish they just let her keep her name, but yeah. Oh, excuse me. We'll see. But yeah, it looks like Taya Valkyrie is going to debut on the 13th of April, so we'll look forward to that. Last but not least, we had the Battle Royal to qualify for the North American Championship Gauntlet. So again, just to go over the rules here, because it is a lot. It took me a while to get under my belt. There was going to be, well, there was supposed to be 12 men. Like I said, Roderick Strong walked away. So there's 11 men in the Battle Royal. The last 6 men standing would all make it to the gauntlet match, which will be on night 1 of the 2-night takeover. Depending on how those last 6 were eliminated from the Battle Royal would determine their entry point. So the first person to be eliminated out of the 6 would be the first person to enter the gauntlet, and so on and so forth. And then the winner of the gauntlet match on night 1 at Takeover will face Johnny Gargano on night 2 for the North American Championship. I hope you've got that all, because I'm not repeating it. So we saw this Battle Royal, which I thought was okay. Like, it was, I don't think there was enough in here to really keep me 100% focused on it, if I'm being completely honest. But we saw some good parts. Rivalries renewed between Leon Ruff and Swerve Scott. We saw Kushida and Pete Dunne really go for each other. LA Knight and Bronson Reed. So there was a couple, people in there that had previous in there. Pete Dunne and Kushida eliminated themselves to basically leave the rest in the ring, which made up the 6. With Pete Dunne and Kushida going out through doing some type of arm bars and technical stuff, we saw William Regal actually give them their own match at Takeover, which I don't mind. I really wanted Pete Dunne to really kick on and win this and win the North American Championship. But if he's not going to win the North American Championship, I'd rather him just not be in this altogether, to be honest. I'd rather him just have a match with Kushida, which I assume he may win. So, yeah, it's like the best of both. But yeah, then, we saw Leon Ruff get eliminated. Swerve Scott got eliminated. So those two are actually going to start the gauntlet. Bronson Reed got eliminated next. I think Cameron Grimes was eliminated after that, followed by Dexter Lumis. And then last but not least, the winner was LA Knight. So LA Knight is going to go on to be the last person to enter the gauntlet match. And then obviously that leaves him with the best opportunity to face Johnny Gargano on the second night for the North American Championship. I still think it's going to be Dexter Lumis. Pete Dunne was my choice, but Dexter Lumis, maybe who they want. They've wanted Dexter Lumis to hold this position, hold this title for a while, I believe. So I think Dexter Lumis is probably going to win the gauntlet. I think that Dexter Lumis probably goes on to challenge Johnny Gargano and wins. And that he's already part of this whole Johnny Gargano and the Way story anyway. So I think it just kind of makes sense. But let me know what you think down below in the comments. Last but not least, while this match was all tying up and LA Knight was, going and having a war with words at Johnny Gargano ringside, we saw Io Shirai stomp down to the ring, got on the mic, yelling Japanese into the mic, basically called out Raquel González. Raquel González came out, followed by like the rest of the upcoming and performance center women. They came in, tried to split these two. Never quite happened. Raquel González, after battling, she got thrown out of the ring. Io Shirai punched off the girls that were holding her back. She went up top and done like a crossbody onto the whole field of women onto the ground, and ended up the show standing tall against Raquel González, who had knocked her down throughout the whole of the show. Io Shirai ends up standing tall going into night 1 of NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. Who is going to win this match? Who is going to win this match, man? I really don't know right now. I think Raquel González has to be, and for anyone that's been following, we always talk about this WWE mathematics. If you end the show before standing tall, you're not winning at the pay-per-view. Io Shirai ends the show standing tall here. Is this Raquel González's big win? Big win. Winning the NXT Women's Championship. They've built her so well within the last 3 to 6 months. It almost has to be. It almost should be. Io Shirai has been a great champion. She's put on great matches, but this may be, just a one mountain too big to climb. So I mean, I'm all behind Raquel González. I have been for some time. She can have a rematch with Io Shirai and beat her again before she moves on to the inevitable, which would be Dakota Kai. That would be really fun to see. I think that Raquel González has to win at Takeover. I'm going to be very confused if otherwise happens. But we shall see. I'm a big fan of Io Shirai as well. So I don't mind, deep down, I don't mind whoever retains, but I think it's Raquel González's time, man. Strike when the iron's hot, as I always say. So that will be interesting to see. And like I say, we're going to have in the gauntlet match Dexter Lumis and LA Knight. Those are going to be the last two people in the gauntlet match. So we'll see who comes out on top there, who's going to face Johnny Gargano on night 2 of Takeover. Guys, that is your NXT review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know down below in the comments who do you think is going to win the NXT Women's Championship on night 1 at NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. Io Shirai or Raquel González? Who is your pick? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you haven't already, please remember to hit the thumbs up button on this video. The High Flyer says here, Io's run has been memorable, but we need a new champion soon. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. It's time to end this run, and I think Raquel González is the perfect person to end it. But yeah, please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already, and hit the notification bell so you get notified each and every time I drop a new video. AEW review comes later on today, so please stay tuned to the channel. It'll be out later on today, probably in about 6 hours time. So look out for that. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you.